Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo, and Britney Spears has not had a good, hell, I want to say like last decade, it feels like. Ever since she ended up shaving her head and kind of going nuts, she's just had a bumpy ride. And I'm not attacking Britney Spears for having mental health issues. I very much feel for her. I empathize, I sympathize, but it's realistic to point out that she's just had a hell of a time when it comes to dealing with life post Kevin Federline, really. And here we're seeing this report coming out from Variety today saying Britney Spears may never perform again. Now, I don't 100% believe this to be true because Britney Spears is a commodity and people around her make money, and they're still going to want to have her, well, work in her prime because she's in her late 30s. She's not out of the game yet. She just left her residency in Las Vegas in order to look after her dad, quote unquote. That's the conspiracy theory for her going to rehab now that she's out and things are a little bit different. We're hearing this, and again, I think this is a bit of a scare tactic. So according to the article here, it says Britney Spears' longtime manager, Larry Rudolph, says that the singer may never perform again. Speaking to TMZ, Rudolph said that as a person who guides her career, based on the information I and all of the professionals who work with her are being told on a need-to-know basis, from what I have gathered, it is clear to me that she should not be going back to do the Vegas residency. It's not in the near future, possibly never again. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean she's never going to perform again. It just means she's not going to perform in Las Vegas, and that kind of seems okay. Residencies come and go. I believe Celine Dion just wrapped up her residency, so it's ultimately not that big of a deal. But her manager here, listen to what he says, is as a person who guides her career based on the information I and all of the professionals who work with her are being told on a need-to-know basis. It's clear to this guy, at least, that she should not be going back to do the Vegas residency, not in the near future, or ever again. So this is only told to them on a need-to-know basis. That line was used on purpose, so people know that Britney is in a bit of trouble. Now, Rudolph has managed Spears most of her career, going back to her first album, Baby One More Time, in 1999, saying, I've been with her for 2/3 of her life. I look at her almost as I look at my own daughter. It's very emotional for me and really rough. Personally, I want for her just to find a peaceful, happy place, whatever that means for her. It's not about a career anymore. It's about life. And this is what happens when you have child stars. And Britney was a child star, being originally on the Mickey Mouse Club and then coming into like the young sexualized spotlight back with Hit Me Baby One More Time in 1999. And that was a big thing. That was a big, big, big thing. And as a result of that, it took its emotional toll, its mental toll on her. It totally makes sense that happened. And here we see her longtime manager going like, look, I look at this girl like a daughter. And they're doing these things to her that like he has no control over because he's not her conservator. Now, it says the singer is scheduled to undergo a psychological evaluation after postponing her Vegas residency in the wake of her father's recent treatment for a ruptured colon. Again, that is the rumor that's going around. There was the whole Free Britney movement that talked about that as being just a ploy to get her out of the residency and into rehab, which we do know she went to rehab because she's now out after there was the Free Britney movement. Rudolph says that though Britney Spears has rehearsed the show, the residency was due to launch again on the 13th of February. Vegas engagement is effectively off, which is what prompted his speaking out in the early hours of May 15th. Now, one could argue that this guy, and this is just me speaking as a central person, as just kind of look at all sides. This is her manager, so he gets paid when she gets paid. And if she's not working, then he's not getting paid. But he's been with her for 20 years, so he's guaranteed made enough money, and she trusts him enough to keep him around, or at least the parents, her father, her conservator trusts him enough to not ask too many questions and to just do what he's told on a need-to-know basis. And him speaking out now is going to put that particular relationship in jeopardy. And it could be a ploy. It could be a ploy in his part in order to kind of like force the hand publicly in order to get people to come around and say like, wait a minute, why isn't she performing? And then he, can prolong it in the end. Anyway, this is what it says. It says the decision was made not to move forward with the Vegas residency, he says, adding that the question of what she's doing next is not the focus Spears or her family is concerned with right now, saying she's taking time to regroup and get her head together. She's putting herself ahead of everyone else, and I'm proud of her for that. If she never works again, she never works again. My role is to handle her career when she wants a career. If she comes back strong and full of desire and passion and wants to do it, great. If she takes off 6 months or 6 years, it's totally fine. To me, it's about her finding a happy place, which, look, we all want that. Everybody wants that. Everyone wants Britney Spears to be happy, to be healthy, to be good. And honestly, I think getting her away from the residency is probably the best call. It kept her, well, they're good and there's bad things with it. So for a person, and from what I can gather based upon what I've read, my armchair psychology cap being on, it says to me that she needs the structure. With the structure, she's allowed to then, she can then focus, right? Some people don't do well by just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. Structure is key. Structure is sound. Structure makes life worth living because you're able to then figure it out. And that's good. But when it comes to someone as high profile as Britney Spears, it does ultimately feel like there are other factors at play here, that there's other elements at work, and that they could be actually working to work against her. And that's just at least my thought on it. Now, the article goes on to say here, as far as her music is concerned, she's still signed with RCA Records, and at some point she'll record again. There's a slow moving project she's been dabbling in and out of. That's the beginning of something. Now, this is coming from Variety, reported earlier this year that songwriter Justin Tranter came on board as an exec producer of a forthcoming album, and she'll come back to it when she's ready, says Rudolph. She's been working since she was a kid. At 37 years old, she's worked more than most people do who hit retirement age. And that's true. In the 20 years she's been on the scene, how many albums has she released? How many tours has she gone on? How many residencies, And that's the thing, too. Even looking at the Free Britney movement, she's still, over the course of the past, 10 years or whatever that she's been on this conservatorship, she's gone on 3 world tours and then did the Vegas residency and released a couple albums. So it's not like she hasn't been working, but somebody has clearly been pulling the strings here. And it does appear that that's her dad. And so this whole ruptured colon, she needs to take time off to be with him thing feels a little bit on the side, right? Because her mom has come out and liked some of the Free Britney posts, adding fuel to the fire, adding, all sorts of crazy stuff with that one. But it says, since she left treatment last month, she has shared several Instagram posts. One released following the widely reported public protest in West Hollywood organized by the Free Britney movement. Says Spears in a video posted on April 24th. Hi guys, just checking with all of you who've been concerned about me. All is well. My family has been going through a lot of stress and anxiety lately, so I just needed time to deal. But don't worry, I'll be back very, very soon. And you know what? The likelihood of Britney Spears actually coming back is probably minimal. I don't think she should go back to Vegas. I think she's still going to record albums. I think that she's still going to do world tours. And that could be good or bad for her. But if you want my honest opinion here, get her away from her family. She's gone through multiple conservatorships, and her dad has been the one that's kind of hung around. There's been co-conservators or whatever the hell it is, from what I read. And I get it. I get why it's necessary for Britney Spears. But at the end of the day, I still feel bad for Britney Spears. I still feel bad for her because she doesn't deserve this. She doesn't deserve this life. If she needs to take the time off and get the mental health help she needs, by all means do it. But I feel like she's a pawn in somebody else's game. And it does kind of feel like even her manager, that feels like a planted piece in order to either garner sympathy to get her the help she needs, like the mental help she needs, and to get her a break. Whether or not her family is pushing her to come back to a residency, we don't know. Or it could be the opposite, where he's like, daddy's got to get paid. And I have no idea. And I'm not trying to make any accusations, but the way I read it, it could literally go either way. I'd like to think that her manager of 20 years, who's been with her 2/3 of her life, who knows her really well, is saying this and hoping of changing the conversation around Britney getting help instead of her coming back to work, which does feel more accurate than not. But we're going to have to wait and see on this one. I do hope Britney Spears continues to perform. I've been a fan for 20 years. I don't want to see her go away. But I do want to see her get the help that she absolutely, positively, desperately needs. And if it's time off, let her take the time off, be with her kids, and not deal with any of the celebrity shit, because she deserves it. After 20 years of work, she needs a break.